come up top, that's what everybody's seeing. Underneath the surface though, nobody's fleeing. Fast enough, that was my life. Calm on the visible layer. Undertow with secret sin was slowly pulling me under. Deeper. Everybody on the beach thought I was swimming fine, was thriving. Meanwhile, I was fighting currents underneath, was slowly dying. On the inside, while my outside kept up the whole performance. Undertow don't announce itself, don't come with a warning. Importance is you don't fight it head on, that's how swimmers drown exhausted. Fighting straight against the current that's specifically constructed to wear you down completely. I finally stopped the useless fighting, called for help instead. That's the wisdom, that's the actual writing on every lifeguard's manual. Don't fight the pull directly, swim parallel to shore. Ask for help, admit it. Undertow, fighting it alone just makes it grow. Undertow, let them pull you out, let go. Undertow, I hit my undertow for years, kept swimming like it's nothing, kept smiling on the surface while the current kept on pulling deeper, further from the shore, further from community. Every secret that I kept just fed the current's opportunity to pull me further out. That's how secrets operate specifically. Feed off isolation, feed off the silence, feed off privately. Struggling alone the moment I called out, the moment I admitted I'm caught in something bigger than my own strength permitted. Somebody to swim out and get me. That's when the current lost its power. Undertow can't hold a person who's not fighting it alone this hour. Let go, stop fighting. Let go, stop fighting. Somebody swimming in. Let go, stop fighting. Undertow, fighting it alone just makes it grow. Doctor said I gotta isolate, said the infection spreading. Everybody kept their distance while my own conditions threatening. Then somebody broke protocol, walked into my exact isolation. Took the infection on himself, that's not standard medication. So, since contagious, that's the actual medical metaphor completely. Spreads through contact, spreads through proximity, secretly infecting everyone around me while I stayed in my own denial. Everybody kept their distance, kept me isolated for a while. That's the world's response to infection. Quarantine and keep it distant. Don't let it spread further, that's the logic that's consistent with how the world handles brokenness. Keep it contained, keep it separate. But Jesus broke that protocol completely. That's the desperate love that walked directly into my exact contamination. Touched the leper, touched the bleeding woman, broke the whole isolation protocol that everybody else respected out of caution. He caught what I had on purpose, that's the whole entire portion. He broke quarantine, walked into my exact isolation scene. He broke quarantine, took the infection so that I'd be clean. Medicine says treat the symptom, keep the infected person isolated till they're clean enough to reintegrate, till they're validated as no longer contagious. That's medically the proper protocol, but grace operates different. Grace walks straight into the quarantine hall, doesn't wait for me to heal myself before it contact. Comes to where I'm isolated, comes to where I'm exact. Live, most contagious, most infected, most alone, most distant from community, and takes the infection on. That's consistent with a savior who touched lepers when the losses stay away, who let the bleeding woman touch his robe, who let the whole array of untouchables get close enough to actually be healed. Quarantine broke the day grace walked in, that's the actual deal. Broke the quarantine, broke the quarantine. Walked in anyway. Broke the quarantine, broke the quarantine, broke the quarantine. Took my sickness, broke the quarantine. He broke quarantine, broke the quarantine. Walked into my exact isolation scene. He broke quarantine, broke the quarantine. Took the infection so that I'd be clean. Clean now, clean now. Oh, quarantine's over. Clean now, oh, clean now, clean now. Oh, he walked in, clean now. Plane goes down, everything's destroyed except one thing that she Black box survives the crash to tell the truth of what was speaking. In the final moments, that's my testimony, honestly. However bad the crash, the truth still survives eventually. Went through a crash so total, everybody thought there's no surviving. It thought the wreckage was too scattered for a story worth reviving. But investigators don't give up until they find the box. Buried in the wreckage, indestructible it talks. Even when the plane itself is scattered pieces across the ocean. Even when the cockpit's gone, the black box holds the notion of exactly what went wrong and how it all unfolded. I got a black box in my testimony, unmolded by the crash itself. The truth of what God did inside me survived the wreckage of my worst season, still resides in me, waiting for somebody to come looking for the story. Buried in my crash, still transmitting all the glory. Black box survives the crash. Black box survives the crash. Truth still transmitting after everything went down. Black box survives the crash. Everybody sees the wreckage first, sees the scattered metal, sees the headline, sees the tragedy, but they don't yet settle on the actual black box till the investigation's active. Digging deeper than the surface story, finding the exact truth of what happened in the cockpit before impact. That's what testimony does, it digs past the wreck, past the act of destruction. Everybody witness finds the signal still transmitted. Underneath it all, that's the resurrection power sitting. In my worst crash, waiting for somebody brave enough to mine it. Out the wreckage of my story, find a black box and define it as the actual truth, not the tragedy that's visible. Every crash I've had, God kept something indestructible.
Still transmitting, still transmitting.
Under the wreckage,
Still transmitting,
still
transmitting, still transmitting.
truth survives it.
Still transmitting.
Black box
Survives the crash.
Black box
Survives the crash.
truth still transmitted after everything went down.
Black box survives the crash. Still transmitting, still transmitting.
Found in the wreckage,
Still transmitting, still transmitting, still transmitting.
that's my testimony.
Still transmitting.
Kept the music legend my whole life. Every debt recorded, every wrong done to me, every account I hoarded. Waiting for the payback, waiting for the balance settled. Till grace showed me the ledger that I really need to nettle. Every person that wronged me got a column in my ledger. Every debt they owe me, every apology, every pledge. Promise they still hadn't kept, I tracked it all meticulous. Told myself it's justice, told myself it's not ridiculous. To keep score this carefully, but the ledger just kept growing. Heavier to carry, every entry just kept sowing. Bitterness in deeper, that's the actual cost of the ledger. I was keeping costs more than whatever debt I thought they owed. Whatever payback I was waiting on eventually arriving. Then I saw the actual ledger, Christ kept saw I'm striving. Not to track my debt, but to cancel the whole entire folder. Nailed it to the cross completely, that's a different kind of ledger. Tear up the ledger, tear up the ledger. Cancel every debt, tear up the ledger. Tear up the ledger, tear up the ledger. Forgiveness cancels ledgers. I held on to my ledger like it gave me actual power over the people who wronged me. But every single hour I kept the books, I was the one in prison by the keeping. Not them, they moved on completely while I stayed there weeping over entries they forgot they made. That's the actual prison. Unforgiveness builds, keeping score with precision. While the debt is free and living, now I finally understood the math don't work in my favor. Holding on to it the good news is God already tore up every ledger against me. Asked me to extend the favor, asked me to release completely every debt I'm tracking, not because they earn cancellation, because I've already received the same exact liberation. Tore it up, every debt, tore it up. Tore it up, tore it up. That's forgiveness, tore it up. Tear up the ledger, cancel every debt. Tear up the ledger, tear up the ledger, tear up the ledger. Forgiveness cancels ledgers. Ledgers clear, ledgers clear. No more debts, ledgers clear, ledgers clear, ledgers clear, ledgers clear, ledgers clear. Finally free, ledgers clear. Oh, no, yeah. Yeah. Some seasons don't come gradual, some seasons hit like riptide. Sudden and violent, pulling everything solid off to the side. Oh, what you thought was stable ground, that's how mine hit exactly. Marriage ending, health declining, finances collapsing factually. 3 riptides hitting simultaneous, that's not an exaggeration. That's just the honest timeline, that's the actual location I found myself in. Everything I built got pulled out under me. Every plan I had got rewritten by a force so much bigger than me. I learned in that season, you don't fight a riptide directly, straight towards shore. You swim along it, you trust it eventually. Riptide pull me under, riptide pull me under. But I didn't drown, I didn't drown. That's the wonder. Riptide pull me under, ooh, riptide pull me under. Still here breathing, still here. The wonder. Everybody watching from the shore couldn't understand my swimming sideways instead of straight back. Couldn't understand the timing of my apparent lack of progress toward the shore they standing on. Sometimes surviving a riptide looks like you're not moving, gone nowhere fast, but that's exactly the strategy that works against the current that's strong. Sometimes faith looks like it shirks direct progress, while it's actually the wisest possible movement available. I made it back to shore eventually. Improvement was invisible for a long stretch of that riptide season, but I made it back, breathing, made it back with a reason to tell the story different than the panic-stricken swimmers who fall straight on and drown. That's the difference, that's the winning. Still breathing, still breathing. Made it back, still breathing, still breathing, still breathing. Trusted the process, still breathing. Oh, riptide pull me under. Riptide pull me under. But I didn't drown, I didn't drown. That's the wonder. Riptide pull me under. Ooh, riptide pull me under. Still here breathing, still here. That's the wonder. Back on shore, back on shore. back on shore. Yeah. Hunters use a decoy to distract from where they're hiding. Yeah. Enemies been using decoys, my whole life been providing false targets to keep me aiming at the wrong direction. While the real issue stayed hidden, stayed beyond detection. Spent years fighting decoys, fighting symptoms, fighting surface issues that look like the problem, but were really just the purpose. So distraction kept me busy fighting my temper, my spending, while the actual root issue stay hidden, stay unattended. Took completely enemy strategy and simple and effective. Give you something visible to fight so the real thing stays protected. Underneath it, took a real counselor to point out the difference between the decoy I was fighting and the actual existence of the wound underneath it. Once I stopped fighting the surface symptom and started addressing the actual root, the purpose of years of struggle finally made sense, finally got treated. Instead of managing the decoy, the actual wound completed. It's a decoy, it's a decoy, fighting the surface while the real thing still deployed. It's a decoy, it's a decoy, find the root, don't just avoid. Church culture sometimes teaches us to manage the decoy well. Behavior modification while the actual wound stays dwelling underneath, unaddressed. That's why people relapse. Repeatedly fix the visible symptom, but the actual gap stayed open underneath. Real healing requires the harder work of finding what the decoy's distracting from the actual hurt. It's driving the behavior, not just managing the behavior itself. I stopped settling for decoy management, stopped putting the actual wound on the shelf. Ignored, started doing the deeper work, the uncomfortable digging past what's visible into what's actually rigging the whole system underneath. That's where real freedom's found, not in managing the decoy, but in addressing what's underground. Find the root, find the root, past the decoy. Find the root, find the root, find the root. That's where healing's absolute. It's a decoy, it's a decoy, fighting the surface while the real thing still deployed. It's a decoy, it's a decoy, find the root, don't just avoid. Find the root, find the root, past the decoy. Find the root, find the root, find the root. That's where freedom's absolute. Forgot my own, forgot my own password. Trying to access my account. Every guest came back denied. Every attempt didn't amount to nothing. Locked out of my own history, my own story, till I remember the reset comes through a different authority. Spent years trying every combination I could remember, trying to access peace through old passwords, through December. Resolutions that never stuck, through willpower, through the effort of trying harder. Every attempt got denied, every desperate guess just locked the account down further, adding more security against my own access. That's what striving does. Maturity taught me eventually that the password wasn't mine to remember or create. It's a reset that comes through someone else's membership in my account. He's the administrator, not a hacker. Trying to break in, he's got the actual access. He's the backer of the whole entire system. When I finally call for the reset, stop guessing my own password, stopped assuming I'd forget, less I was chasing what I couldn't earn. Every lock made me return. Then I heard that mercy call. You already knew it all. Reset the password, reset the password. Stop guessing on your own. Reset the password, reset the password, reset the password. He's got the access. Reset the password. sir. Every self-help password I tried was really just a variation of the same denied attempt, same failed authentication. Peace ain't access through better willpower, better disciplines. Peace is access through surrender, through admitting the limitations of trying to break into my own account through my own effort. The administrator already has the access, already the expert on my entire history, every lock file, every folder. I stopped guessing, called on him, and suddenly an older wisdom clicked into place. The reset link arrived instantly. Access granted, not because I finally guessed correctly, but because the administrator granted access freely. There's the difference between striving and receiving. Really, 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 really. Access granted, access granted, not by guessing. Access granted, access granted, access granted by surrender. Access reset granted password. Reset the password. Stop guessing on your own. Reset the password. Reset the password. He's got the access. Reset the password. Log back in, log back in. By his access. Log back in. Log back in, log back in. That's the reset. Log back in. Every day. Every driver's got a blind spot. Mirror can't reveal it. Gotta turn your head to actually see it. Gotta feel it. Different than what the mirror shows. That's my whole confession. Had a blind spot in my character. I refuse inspection. Everybody else can see it clearly. Everybody mention it gently over years, and every time I felt the tension rise up defensive, felt the urge to argue to deflect it. Blind spots feel invisible to the person who's affected by them. Most specifically, that's the actual danger of it. You can't see what you can't see. You need someone above it or beside you, willing to say turn your head, look over, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you rather not hear the correction. That's when growth becomes available. Only when humility lets somebody speak into the sizable gap between how I see myself and how I'm actually landed on other people. That's maturity, that's understanding. Got a blind spot, got a blind spot. Can't see it myself, got a blind spot, got a blind spot, got a blind spot. Be somebody honest for my blind spot. I used to surround myself with people scared to mention my blind spots. Called it loyalty, called it good intention. Really it was cowardice, dressed up as kindness, dressed up as not wanting to hurt me, but silence let the blind spot grow. Cause more damage than the honest conversation would've caused me. Now I'm building relationships with people who call me out, specifically who turn my head toward what I'm missing, even when it's uncomfortable, even when I'm resisting at first. That's actual love, that's actual community. Not the version that just affirms, the version that sees me clearly enough to say there's something in your blind spot. Willing to have a hard conversation, not just find fault. Turn my head, turn my head. Show me what the mirror hasn't said. Turn my head, turn my head. Willing now, turn my head. Got a blind spot, got a blind spot. Can't see it myself, got a blind spot, got a blind spot, got a blind spot. Need somebody honest for my blind spot. Turning out, feeling the look, turning out, turning out. That's maturity, turning out. Feel looks safe to walk through, grass and flowers scattered. Nobody told me what was buried underneath. What mattered Yeah. My family field is full of buried trauma, buried triggers. Planted by my grandfather's war, passed down through the figures of my father, of my uncles. Everyone stepped on the same one, different location, same device, same generational weapon. Nobody mapped the field for me, nobody said watch this section. I just walked it blind like everybody else, no protection. Stepped on anger, stepped on silence, stepped on the exact pattern. Passed down like an heirloom, nobody wanted, nobody said it. Till I got some real help. Got a real guy, got a stranger. Trained to walk through fields like mine. Trained to find a buried danger. Buried landmine, buried landmine. Stepping careful now, mark the whole line. Buried landmine, buried landmine. Learning where not to step this time. Every explosion in my past left a crater, I avoided. Walking around instead of learning what actually voided the danger completely. Avoidance ain't the same as clearing, it just means you're walking a longer path. Still fearing the same exact feel. Real courage means calling the actual specialist. Train explosive ordnance disposal, not the pretend list of self-help tactics that just teach you to walk around it better. Grace brought the actual expert who knows how to disarm it. Let her do the actual work, walking me back through the whole field, pointing at each buried device, teaching me to yield. Clearing the field, clearing the field for the next generation. Clearing the field, clearing the field, clearing the field, so they walk free. Clearing the field. Buried landmine, buried landmine. Stepping careful now, mark the whole line. Buried landmine, buried landmine. Learning when not to step this time. Field is clear, field is clear for my children. Field is clear, field is clear, field is clear. That's the legacy. Field